Fellas Cinema back. Another dish. How we doing out there? Good, great, grand, and wonderful. Let's hit the ground running on this one. As you see on your dial, Synchronic. Synchronic stars Anthony Mackie, Jamie Dornan, Katie Aselton, Ali Ionides, and many, many more admirable contributions from the cast. So what is Synchronic? When New Orleans paramedics and longtime best friends Steve and Dennis are called to a series of bizarre and gruesome accidents, they chalk it up to a mysterious new drug found at the scene. But after Dennis's oldest daughter disappears, Steve stumbles upon a terrifying truth about the supposed psychedelic that will challenge everything they know about reality and the flow of time itself. And I don't mind that synopsis by Google, but I really feel that we're overlooking the beating heart that this film has just with that particular synopsis. I get it. It's supposed to be cool, and yeah, but I don't know. There is an underlying, there's a warmth to this film that particular synopsis kind of overlooks. If my nerves are showing on this show, well, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, I'm just geeking a little bit. I'm just geeking, you know, and I apologize for nothing. So today on the show, I'm lucky to have two gents whose career I've actually been following for quite some time. They've done a gaggle of things. Some of that gaggle includes the Bone Storm segment, quite possibly my favorite segment from the VHS viral, "Hey Video Guy, your dad's a good singer." And they also have done some features, Resolution, Spring, The Endless, and now Synchronic, all of which that I've dug. And I'm not just saying that because, I mean, you know, you, the audience, know I can't stand doing this fucking show unless I have someone or something interesting to talk about. So, listeners, I am joined today by writers, directors, editors, cinematographers, the two-man band, Moorhead and Benson, Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. Sirs, take Deja Vu 2.
Yes. I didn't think you could match the enthusiasm of the first time, but you exceeded it, you maniac.
Well, you know, I felt so awful about... Dude, I had the nervous shits. I was sweating. After that, I was just like, I'm never going to talk to him again. It's over with.
No, that's just the way we feel every day. Hey, that was it. Really quick, Justin, can you please pull down the ad on Craigslist for a hype man, because we found our guy.
Oh man, yeah, I'll just be the guy that's like, you know, you guys say your stuff and I'll be like, yeah, what's up? Yeah, I'm down for it, and I will work for food. That I don't even need money, just food. So, how are we doing this evening, gentlemen?
We're doing so good. This is so fun. We're all collectively, most of us are in places where we got to quarantine, and we've been indoors a lot, working a lot on this projects we've been on, so it's just fun to get to talk to people, like hang out. Yeah.
Right, and that is what I want this show to feel like, a hang. Even though it's going to be a by-the-numbers interview, I hope that it doesn't feel like a by-the-numbers interview. So, are you guys out in L.A.?
No, we live in LA, but we're currently in Pittsburgh working on something. So
gotcha. Well, because I just read something, not to bring the story to a bummer. One person every 10 seconds is getting COVID out in LA. I got a lot of friends out there, and that makes me super nervous, sirs, super nervous. So I'm glad that you guys are out and about in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's really nice in Pittsburgh. You know, we're able to do our co-workouts at the gym, and then go to the bar and have a face massage competition and a sneezing competition. It's great over here.
So I got, first of all, I just want to tell you guys, and I don't know if you heard me, you know, a couple minutes ago. I can't stand doing the show, fellas. I can't, unless they're, you know, nobody wants to hear me talk about Wonder Woman 84. Well, there is people that want to hear me talk about it, but I refuse. It's got to be something off the beaten path. It's got to be something fascinating, interesting, and top to bottom, sirs, whether it's the production design, the cast, all members of the crew, the cast was stellar. This is just a great movie in Synchronic, and I I wish that we had known each other many years prior, because then I wouldn't be blowing smoke by saying that it is a great movie. So you're not just like, oh, this fucking hype man that we got on the other end of the phone. But so I have to know the genesis of Synchronic. Is this an idea you've been kicking around for a while? Do you guys? There's a lot of parts to this question. Is this an idea you've been kicking around for a while? Like, since you guys are a team, do you have a process, or did you guys drop some Synchronic and this is what we got?
I mean, basically, it's probably what everyone expects. Aaron he just looked at me one day and he said, "What if Dr. Manhattan were a pill you could buy at a head shop?" Yeah. And then I didn't say anything else for the rest of the day. That was it. Yeah. No, Aaron actually has a very, very good story about how this concept came up with. We were working on a job. What job was it? What job? It was an obscure social media ad for Sesame Street. I'm not kidding.
What? No.
Yes, I'm not joking. And we were at lunch, and we were just kind of chatting about whatever. And Justin told me that he's like, "Yeah, I kind of had this idea that I can't quite get out of my head. I'll tell you about it later." I was like, "No, you tell me now." and he's like, "Well, I don't really know how to like pitch it to you yet." I was like, "Well, just stumble through it. I don't care." And he said, "Like, I there are some scientific theories about time that say that all of time has actually already happened, and we just happen to experience it linearly. But in fact, it's more like a big block of matter, which is called block state universe." And you could technically go to any part of it and find out, which of course is against the ideas of free will. And he's like, "Yeah," and I'm just like, what if you could actually just experience time that way? That it's just switching. We've known about this idea of block state universe, but the concept of what if a human could not experience it that way, and that was really the genesis of it. We started kind of talking about exactly how that would work, and ended on a designer drug. Talked about the dynamics of that, and we're thinking, well, someone has to investigate it, but we didn't really want to make a movie about a couple of cops like kicking down doors and flashing their badge and be like, tell me what's up with Synchronic, So we thought, but it does have to be somebody that experiences many different like scenes in which somebody uses Synchronic, and so that's where we landed on paramedics. And then it kind of expanded. I'm sorry if I'm going way too deep into this, but
go deeper. Go deeper.
That then blew up into this idea of like, okay, well, these are people who like deal with death on the regular. So what if one of them is dealing with their own death and the other one's dealing with like the death of a family member? And so we're exploring this idea of like the end, but also of course under the guise of a time travel movie in which nothing is the end because of the whole premise of the movie. And then adding on to that is we'd always talked about the fact that on our second movie, Spring, one of the reasons it wasn't easy to make. It was very hard to get made. But one of the things that helped make it was the fact that it took place in Italy. Everybody wanted to work in Italy. And we thought, okay, let's take that same idea. Where does everyone want to work that also is like a filmmaking hub? And the answer is New Orleans. But besides that super pragmatic idea, the other thing is, if you're going to be taking a movie and examining like the layers of time as if it's like, different layers of paint on a painting, there's no place in the United States that is like that besides New Orleans. New Orleans has like a mosaic of history as opposed to like a natural progression where, it has French and Spanish colonialism and then also, is an American city. It has religious significance with voodoo and Santeria. It has racial significance. It has music significance with jazz. So it's one of those things where it's like, man, it's a thick city when it comes to history. So that's where we wanted it to take place. And that was a crazy long, detailed answer for how did we come up with this. But it all sprung out of that. It was kind of all one conversation at lunch during a Sesame Street ad for new media.
Well, to your point of New Orleans, so I was watching some of the bonus features. Finally, I got the discs in. I didn't get a chance to mention it to you guys take one, but because they hadn't been sent out yet, I got one of the digital screeners, and it it is not the quality that I wanted to see in it, and it's no fault of your guys' own, because now that I've seen it 3.5 times, and now that I have the Blu-ray, I saw it the way that it was meant to be seen. But there was a couple of times that I'm just like, oh man, this, like, I only got the 2-channel surround on this particular streamer, and I need everything. But I wanted to say, to your point of New Orleans, so I got the disc and I was watching some of the bonus features of where the location scouts had been, and you guys had to be like, kids on a playground in terms of the palette that you had to paint with, because I saw some of the, I mean, you're saying that it's rich with history. Couldn't agree more in terms of some of the locations that you guys used, and I just hope that is appreciated on a deeper level, as a, because sometimes we just watch the cast and that's the end of it. But I don't know. I think it sells the movie terrifically. I really do.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was a struggle actually getting in a lot of the imagery that one thinks of as being in New Orleans, because when you get there to go shoot the movie, and you quickly learn that it's like, well, being the lowest budget movie in town, it's very hard to get those beautiful locations. You think it was very, very expensive. It's more like, hey, yeah, you're here. Yes, we're going to put New Orleans in quotes. But what you can afford is the suburb 30 miles outside the city that looks like it looks like Inland Empire, Los Angeles. But we did. But luckily, we were able to, like, I don't know. There's a scene in there that literally takes place in the Garden District in front of Anne Rice's house. It's the house that she used on the cover of like books like The Vampire Lestat and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, that is quintessentially what people think of as New Orleans. It is that, and it's really cool that we actually got to do that. But those days were also, they're just like, you've got 15 minutes. Not literally. Like, you better like, you get one take, and then then it's just wheels on the road. We got to get to the other location again. That's 40 miles outside of town in the suburbs.
So something that you had said right there, a little bit lower budget. But would it be fair to say that this is the biggest budget that you've had to work with, or am I 100% wrong?
At the time, yeah, for sure. It definitely was our biggest, but it's still like, it's funny because until you get into the absolute nuances of independent filmmaking, it's hard to describe the difference between something like Spring and something like Synchronic. But Synchronic, they felt like the exact same kind of thing. There were a few more trucks around, but it's not like, oh, we finally have the freedom to do what we want. It's like, in some ways we had less, weirdly enough. And not because people were like telling us what to do, but just like, oh, sometimes you actually move slower. Sometimes it's just this odd thing where it's, all those little, electrical connections in our brains that were being connected every time we make indie movies, where we're just like, okay, well, because of this kind of like little constraint, we can't do this, so we have to just come at it from this angle. We were still firing all those same neurons in Synchronic. It was just like that.
So with the bonus features and to tack on it, I loved Justin, your example of it, that it's like a tiny go-kart with like 3 wheels on it, and you can just you can turn really, really fast, but once you have a bigger budget, it's kind of like a cruise ship. Like, you will turn, it'll just take a little bit, that's all.
Yeah, you also might get in trouble by unions. Lots of things. Yeah. there isn't just like, there's like, we're low on time, just grab the camera, I got an idea. It's like, no, Justin, you're not just grabbing the camera, you're going to get in trouble. Yeah. I had to there were times where, I'm not kidding. There were times where we had to secretly roll the camera, where I'd have to whisper to the camera operator, be like, just roll the camera, just shoot this right now. I don't care. And we just did.